Life is full of questions, many of which may never be answered. A flash in the corner of your eye, the hair standing up on your neck, the feeling that you're being watched. UAPs, UFOs, undersea creatures, Sasquatch ghosts, folklore, myth, and legends. Are our eyes deceiving us? Or is it simply the fact that our fragile minds are negating the truths that are being revealed, but have not yet been proven by science? Or maybe they have been. Secret government projects, psyops, conspiracy theories, and now the introduction of AI. It's getting harder and harder to discern what is true. I invite you to join us, a small but growing group of outsiders, rebels, and realists, as we dive deep into and explore this mysterious life. So there's two Patrick's Point Sue-Meg Park experiences that led me to start this channel, This Mysterious Life. I'm reminded of a couple more, actually, one more at least. Same thing, I would be looking for mushrooms, and I would go off the trails and just be in the forest part and near the boundaries, so like the very edge of the park. And I'd have experiences like sounding like something had jumped and landed right behind me, and big enough to like make the ground shake. And I'd turn around and all I'd see is like bushes moving, like something was really fast, like it had just bound, right behind me. And I mean, could have been a mountain lion or something, I don't know, but it was like definitely big enough to make the ground shake. And then to look where I thought I heard that sound coming from, and to just see the bushes moving like something had just gone through them. So yeah, just experiences like that. And then this last experience actually started up on Johnson Road, which is about an hour and a half drive from Trinidad. And it's up by the Klamath River. It's inland and it's in the mountains, and it's at the end of the road, and it's the other side of the river. There is reservation, Yurok Reservation, and the town of Pequon. And that's a really, there's a lot of Sasquatch sightings out in that area. And I was out there with my friend Scotty, and we were working at clearing another friend's property. We were picking up trash, and he had to tear down an unpermitted cabin, and so we had been taking the roofing off of the cabin that day and spent the day doing that. And at the end of the day, we barbecued some big sausages on a little grill, and that was like our dinner. And we were going to spend the night up there and work again the next day because it's such a far drive out of town. And so this was also near the end of the day, but it was still totally daylight. This was getting into the springtime, but no one had been up to the property for months and months and months. So this was like maybe April or something like that, March or early April. There was no more snow or anything up there, and it was just starting to dry out enough for us to get up there and work. And We just finished eating the barbecue sausages and heard this, like, what sounded like a freight train charging through the forest, coming down the hill above us, from above us. And it was bipedal. It was like you could hear the, one step following the other, like, but it was like running, like, and I mean, it just sounded huge, just limbs on trees breaking and brush just crackling under the weight of whatever this thing was. And it came right down to the edge of the trees, and the same thing just stopped, like right on the other side of the trees. But this was really pretty close to us, like only really like 10 or 15 yards, like right there. But it's super dense forest and trees, like we couldn't see through it at all. And both of us were like looking up, like about 12 feet high into the trees at like whatever this thing was. For some reason, we both were like looking up, expecting something to come through. And Scotty just like was just frozen where he was, and it really like kind of freaked me out. I like backed up and like opened the door to my truck, and I was like, Scotty, come on, Scotty, come on. And he was just like frozen there, just like staring at this thing, waiting for something to emerge, and nothing came out, and within about 20 seconds or so, that intense feeling like went away, and I never got in the truck. I just, I closed the door, and we looked at each other like, what the hell was that? And I didn't hear anything else. He said that he heard it going up the hill after that. Just, a minute later, he heard it again leaving, going up the hill. I didn't hear that. I was like, I might have been in shock or something. It was just really intense. And that, I feel like, is a known area for Sasquatch. We had been barbecuing meat, and I felt like that thing was coming down to see if it could intimidate us enough to, leave the grill, even though we'd already just finished eating. And so I think that was a bluff charge. And it's, it sounds, has the characteristics of a lot of different bluff charges that I've heard of. And then this ties into Patrick's Point, because 3 days later, Scotty and I were in Patrick's Point, and we were exploring in there, and we were kind of like, looking for signs of Sasquatch. And we'd done some little video recordings and stuff where we were kind of talking about a little bit about this experience that we just had up on Johnson Road. And sure enough, same thing happens in Patrick's Point. We're like near the edge of the boundaries again, kind of in this one area where I'm always having these experiences, and we got bluff charged again. And it didn't sound like it was as big, but something large, just same thing, just like just charging through the brush, and stopped at the bush, like right in front of us, this like dense brush in front of us that once again couldn't see through. But once again, it's that feeling. You get this like, you feel this like pressure coming at you that's like, go, and so we did. And also we kind of like stumbled because it was like so intense. We like turned around and tried to walk like straight through the forest, and it's so dense there. It's like, no, you have to take the trail, and it's just a little animal trail, and so we like walked 10 feet into the forest. We're like, oh my God, this isn't gonna work, so we had to come back towards whatever this was, get on the animal trail, and then kind of the animal trail kind of went around where it was. So it was like this intense moment of having to backtrack and go kind of parallel next to whatever this thing was, and just still like we couldn't see anything. We never saw anything. So we don't have any validation or proof in that sense, but it's just the characteristics of being bluff charged, and then I don't know what you want to call it, the synchronicity or the coincidence of it happening, 3 days apart with the same friend. Um, yeah, I don't know. And then going back to Johnson Road, the next time we went up there, we investigated the hillside where that thing came down, and where those trees were, right on the other side, was a cut where it was like about a 5 or 6 foot bluff, and there was actually like an old road that had been cut in right there, and it was totally overgrown with trees and brush. But my point is that whatever this thing was, it was absolutely giant, because it came down right to the edge of that bluff, and then there was 5 feet, and then there was these trees, and we were still kind of like looking upwards at what we felt like was the source of this presence. And so and looking up at the hillside, it was like such thick, dense brush. It's hard to imagine any animal coming through there, but there's no mistaking the sounds that we heard, and that something came through that. And so this time that we went up, it was a while later. It was probably a month later, so we went back up to do some more work. But yeah, so these are the sort of experiences that build a curiosity within one that is, it's like an itch that you want to keep scratching. You want to find out, like, what are these mysteries? So what was your experience of the last time we were here and we came around this exact corner? What did you hear?
Large mammal, not very far away, with very determined footsteps, and then nothing but silence.
For how long was the silence?
Until we broke it.
It outlasted us. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Until
Yep.
we broke it.
How close do you think that thing came within us, our range?
100 feet, maybe.
Conservatively, that's what I would say.
That's conservatively. Very possibly closer.
I mean, I was thinking it was like maybe 50, right? Through there.
It's really hard to discern in this kind of terrain.
It is.
But I was thinking 100, like...
Just to play fair. Yeah.
And it's, there's really no kind of way to gauge it other than that little sensation you get on the back of your freaking neck.
Exactly.
And, we've been tromping through these woods for a bit.
Never had that before.
Nope. Well, the one time.
That one time. Oh, jeez. That one time. Actually, these experiences were pretty similar, I'd say.
No. First one was way more defined, I thought. But I also heard something run off. I was thinking more dog man. This is a little more footish. Squatchy. And it might be a girl squatch. Because
I know, kind of curious.
we tend to, attract them.
I know.